सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Since 2 evenings we've been discussing how each one of us is searching for happiness and limitless happiness. It is a desire with which we are born, a natural desire, and in the scheme of things there is always a provision for fulfilling natural desires. So there must be a way of fulfilling our desire of the limitless happiness. Yesterday we discussed, where is this happiness? Answer is, it is our own self. If happiness is the nature of myself, how come I find myself not happy all the time? How come I find myself searching for happiness? Answer was ignorance. We are born also with ignorance. Ignorance which causes the false notion about myself as well as about the world. Ignorance about myself. To illustrate this, we told you the story of the 10th man. How this person did not include himself while counting, and he concluded that there are only 9 people, not including himself. And therefore the conclusion was, 10th man is lost, and no search of the 10th man will ever bring him, because the one who is searching for him is himself the 10th man. And similarly also, a search for happiness does not seem to be successful. Yes, there are glimpses of happiness. When a desire is fulfilled, when we achieve something unexpected, there are times, or when we are experiencing an object of pleasure, there are experiences of happiness. The question was, where does happiness come from? Does it come from the object which we are experiencing and thinking that it comes from there? For that we told you another story of this man who saw a golden necklace in the water. Thinking that it's there, he was plunging in water to retrieve that. Ultimately discovered that it was hanging on the branch of the tree. It was a reflection. Similarly also, the happiness that we see in various things, such as objects of pleasure or wealth, etc., is a reflection and not a reality. What it is happiness is ourselves being reflected in objects. And therefore, we do have transient experience of happiness, but not sustained experience of happiness, because we find that anything that makes me happy has a capacity to make me happy for a period of time, and then it loses its charm. I find myself searching for it again in other things. So answer is that happiness is not to be created. Happiness that is already there, my own self, is to be made manifest. The sun is already shining, is hiding behind the clouds. We don't have to create a sun, we have to remove the clouds to experience the sunshine, and so also to remove the clouds which are veiling my natural happiness. What are those clouds? That also we discussed yesterday. How our mind is made up of 3 dispositions, which are sattva, rajas and tamas. And we experience these dispositions now and then. When the mind is under the influence of sattva, we experience peace, tranquility, cheerfulness, self-satisfaction. Those are experienced when the mind is sattvic. When the mind, on the other hand, is rajasic, when there is predominance of rajas, we find ourselves restless, seeking one thing or the other, desires arising one after the other, activities. So this is the characteristic of rajas. Sometimes the mind is under the influence of tamas. When tamas stands for darkness, when it is dull, ignorant, there is no motivation, no initiative, no desire to do anything. That is the influence of tamas. So we have all these three, sattva, rajas and tamas. Of that, sattva reveals the happiness which is ourselves, meaning that is the desirable disposition. Whereas rajas and tamas, they veil the happiness which is ourselves. And therefore, we have to remove that cloud of rajas and tamas from our heart to simply bring to manifestation what is already there, the happiness which is already there. Meaning that happiness is not to be created, which is what we are trying to do. It is to be brought to manifestation. What is there has to be brought to manifestation. In fact, when we think that we have created happiness, in fact, when we think that something is giving me happiness, some desirable object, some pleasurable object, some other achievement, when even if I feel that happiness is coming from that source, in fact, it is at that time also coming from my own self, not recognizing or not paying attention to where it is coming from. We don't pay attention to our experience of happiness. Because our conclusion has been happiness is out there, and every time I experience happiness, that conclusion seems to be only justified. And therefore, I never examine that experience. But if you do examine an experience of happiness, you will find that the objects which give me happiness keep on changing. But the I, the experiencer, is an unchanging factor. And therefore, those changing are just instrumental, they just are incidental to bring to manifestation what is within myself. If this thing is understood, then the constant endeavor in our life will not be chasing happiness which is not there, it will be bringing to manifestation happiness which is already there. No, this is a different thing. Then a spiritual journey starts. A person who is always chasing happiness out there is a samsari, goes round and round. And the other hand, a person who has now gained this insight, and therefore his process now is to get rid of those obstacles, get rid of the inhibiting factors, get rid of that cloud of rajas and tamas, of raga and dvesha, of attachment and aversion. His life will be a meaningful life. We will call it the spiritual pursuit. So yesterday we began how Bhagavad Gita helps us. How do we slowly overcome tamas to be replaced by rajas, rajas to be replaced by sattva, and then even you to transcend the sattva. Now that's a slightly different process of seeking knowledge. So gaining sattva is what we call yoga, and gaining knowledge is called the Brahma Vidya. So Bhagavad Gita gives us this two-step program. Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidyayam, Yoga Shastra, Yoga Shastra, Yoga and Vidya. Since tamas makes me inactive, when the mind is overcome by tamas, I find myself lacking any initiative, any motivation, any activity, there is laziness, lethargy. I know I have to do this, but somehow I just can't get around. There's a whole pile of dishes in front of me. I know I'll do it tomorrow. It's not unusual that we postpone things. We have to write this letter. I'll do it later. Studying, I'll wake up tomorrow morning. Tamas, you don't feel like doing anything. So Lord Krishna says, tamas makes you inactive. Inactivity is the wrong thing because the whole universe is characterized by activity, dynamism. And therefore, you must have the spirit of participation. And therefore, in order to motivate us to engage in activity, they sort of create a fear in us. If we do not do what is required to be done, then the consequences are that you are incurring sin and therefore you are creating unhappiness for yourself. By doing wrong thing, of course, we create unhappiness for ourselves. That's called papa. But by failing to do what is right, then also we create unhappiness for ourselves. So Lord Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Gita, Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajjayo hya karmanah sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhed akarmanah. Akarmanah, Arjuna, if you remain inactive, sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhed, you will find that even your body also will stop functioning slowly. Thereby drawing our attention to what we pointed out yesterday, that we are a part of the scheme. Universe is a whole scheme of things where all apparently diverse looking things are all interconnected. And all different elements of the universe enjoy a relationship of interdependence. That's what now is in thing in management. Now they have discovered this, that the world is based on interdependence. You are not independent. Meaning that whatever you do has an effect on everything else, and whatever everything else does has an effect on you. Interdependent, which of course Vedanta told us thousands of years ago. I quoted a part of the Upanishad yesterday and said how this earth is the result of all the karma that we have performed and how we are the result of what the earth does. Just an example. The Upanishad shows the earth and water and fire and air and space and sun and moon, all of these, how all of them are there because of our karma and how we are there because of their karma. Thus upakarya, upakaraka. Upakarya, one who is favored. Upakaraka, one who favors. In the universe, everything favors and everything returns, everything receives the favor. And the participation is the name of the game. Other than human being, everybody participates because they are so designed. Meaning that they do not have freedom not to participate. But we have the freedom. And if we do not wisely use our freedom, we can hurt ourselves by submitting to our tamas and thus dropping out, coughing out. So Arjuna wanted to drop out. Arjuna's mind in the beginning was filled with tamas. He lost all the initiative. He said to Lord Krishna, Nacha shaknom vyavasthatum brahmativa che me manah. Oh Lord, I am not even able to stand. My bows were slipping from my hand. I feel very feverish. He sat down in the middle of the chariot. leaving aside the bow and arrow, all signs of tamas. And he declared, Nayoche, I will not fight this battle. In that state, his mind could see all the reasons why the battle should not be fought. Our mind also finds justification for what we want to do or what we do not want to do. Arjuna also could find the justification. But inside he knew that something is not right. And therefore he submitted himself to Lord Krishna. Oh Lord, I am your disciple. I am surrendered to you. You please teach me. So first thing Lord Krishna says that you must become active. You must participate. Otherwise, see, if you stop doing favor to the universe will stop doing favor to you, and you are surviving because of favor you receive from the universe. If that stops, you won't even be able to survive. So this statement in the Gita, Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhet akarmanaha. Akarmanaha, if you become inactive, your Sharira yatra, even the sustenance of the body also will not be possible. This may be hard to swallow for us, Swami. There are many people who don't do anything and still they are surviving. But we look at only this lifespan, understand that our life stretches not just to one lifespan, it goes on and on. So we do not know what the effect will be next time. What we do right now, we may not experience the outcome in this lifespan itself, but we do not confine our consideration just one lifespan. We consider that life continues. Only science thinks that life does not continue. Only they think there is no previous birth, there is no next birth. But our question is that we are taught that there is a law of conservation of mass and energy, meaning that mass and energy cannot be created nor can they be destroyed. They just change the form. To that we should add that there should also be conservation of life. The life also is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes form, embodiment. And therefore, since we have a mission in our lives, there is a goal. The human life has a goal, and therefore, we will not stop until that goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda said, stop not until the goal is reached. Even if you stop, this system will not allow you to stop. There is a system in place. Will ask you to continue. Meaning that the results of what we do now may not become evident right away, but will become evident in course of time. Now that may sound superstitious to you, etc., but then it's logical. Law of karma is nothing but law of cause and effect. So karma is a cause, karma phala is the effect. So tamas is to be overcome by activity. So, now, by the way, very often we complain of sadness, even of depression. One nice solution to this problem will be engage yourself in a useful activity. Contribute to the happiness of somebody. Hands-on work, not just give donation and somebody else does. You do it. You go and nurse somebody. You go and feed somebody. You go and talk to somebody and bring some hope or perform an act of kindness. This act of kindness can solve all emotional problems. Sounds far-fetched, but one beauty about the act of kindness is that one small act of kindness I perform, I immediately experience a self-satisfaction. You just go a little out of way to help somebody. In doing so, you may perhaps had to, undergo some exertion, some little pain maybe. You have to invest some time, invest some energy, some investment was involved on your part to perform that act of kindness. But as a result, when you see somebody happy, that seeing somebody happy on your own account makes you happy. Everybody knows this. All mothers know this. Because they feed their children, they raise, fathers also do, but mothers in particular. As we were growing up, mother has cooked some very delicious, dish. And as children, you wipe out everything. You don't even think whether something is left for her or not. And she later on realized that mother is a stupid person. Does not keep anything for her. I told her, if I become mother, which I would not, but if I become mother, first thing I will do is to keep some share for myself, separate. And then I will give. Mothers never do that. They just simply give everything to others and enjoy that act of feeding. So they know what it is to enjoy the act of contribution, act of kindness, act of love. It gives you self-satisfaction, gives you a sense of self-worth that you have done something worthy. This is great for self-esteem. We have low self-esteem. For self-esteem, for a feeling of self-worth, perform an act of kindness. Create opportunities. If they don't come to you, you create the opportunities and you'll find the magical effect of how making somebody happy even for a while, how that creates a satisfaction. You know why? Because this is a basic law. The whole universe is governed by a basic law. What is the law? The law is that all of us have the same kind of expectations from others. We are very clear in our expectation of how others should treat us. We are very clear in our expectation of how others should treat me. They should be kind to me. They should love me. They should forgive me. If I made a mistake, I don't want to be punished. They should forgive me. They should not hurt me. They should not steal something that belongs to me. They should not insult me. Is it not so? I don't think there is an exception. In our clarity of what we expect from others, we are all very clear. That shows that there is something common in all of us. Is it not so? How come all of us the same expectation from others without exception? And I also know, being a self-conscious being, I also know that others have the same expectations from me. That's the difficult part. First is an easy part. The difficult part is that, unfortunately, I know that others also have the same expectation from me, meaning that they want me to be kind to them. They want me not to hurt them. They want me not to insult them. They want me not to lie to them. This also I know. Therefore, this is a fundamental law. I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me, and I should reach out to others the way I want them to reach out to me. Simple law. Applicable to all living beings, all human beings. That is a universal law. This is a universal value. This is called non-violence. The value of non-violence, because I do not want anybody to violate me. Stealing something from me is violating my right. Lying to me is violating my right. Hurting me physically, violating my right. Hurting me emotionally, violating my right. I do not want anybody to violate me. And I know that they also expect me not to violate them. Suppose all of us followed this law, what would happen? No problems in the world, isn't it? No problems. Whole universe will convert to Brahmaloka, Vaikuntha. You don't need to go anywhere. Unfortunately, we find that whereas I am very clear about what I expect from others, somehow I am not always able to display the same kind of behavior towards others. When it comes to telling the truth to others, I have a problem. I want others to be honest to me, but when it comes to honesty on my part, there is a problem. When I pass through customs, I have a problem. These days of customs, India is very liberal. I am talking about 25 years ago, when they used to examine, when nothing was allowed, all electronic items were all subject to duty, etc. And so they would always want to check and ask you whether you have something to declare. And it's up to you. You say, no, then okay, I'm a Swami, they will let me go. So that is when the test comes. I do not want others to be dishonest. I want others to be honest. When it comes to my being honest, there is always the problem here. Why is the problem? Because there is something within me. There is a greedy fellow inside. There are two persons. One is an honest person. All of us are that person. The honest one in me says, hey Swami, declare what all you have. The greedy fellow says, hey, you know something? That means you have to give them 50,000 rupees of duty. Once you say I have something to declare, then they will count every span and every shirt they will count. And 100% penalty and 30% this and that. Thus we have conflicts. We find ourselves violating these values. Why do we violate the values? Because of this greed within ourselves. Lord Krishna identifies 3 internal impulses which pressurize us to violate the values. Kamaha, Krodha, Lobha. Kama means lust, Krodha means anger, Lobha means greed. So that also we have, that's the next stage that you pass. First is participate. Second is follow the law. So this is called dharma. You heard the word dharma. Dharma means the fundamental law that governs the universe. And this is the fundamental law. I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me. And I should reach out to others the way I want them to reach out to me. The fundamental, that's called dharma. Oh, what creates problem in me? Why do I find myself again and again violating dharma? Arjuna asked this question in Bhagavad Gita. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam chardi purusha anichanna vivashanaya baladiva niyojita. Oh Lord, what is it within oneself that pressurizes oneself to violate one's own values? I know what is right, but something pressurizes from within and forces me to violate the value. Forces me. I am forced to violate the value. I am helpless before that internal pressure. What is that? Lord Krishna says, Kama, Krodha, Lobha. What is kama? Kama means the tendency to indulge. Not simple desire, but tendency to indulge. Krodha means anger. Lobha means greed. That includes other things also like jealousy and hatred. All of these are also included. Meaning that whenever my mind comes under the sway of any of these things, then I find myself pressurized, and that is when I find myself violating my value. So second step of overcoming the cloud, removing the cloud, is cloud of adharma. This kama, these tendencies, which are called the asuri sampat or the demoniac tendencies, Lord Krishna calls them. So we have within ourselves both the divine tendencies and the demoniac tendencies. There is a God also inside there and a demon also inside there. And they constantly fight with each other. Whenever I am about to do something, both these fellows want to control me. The God within me says, Devata, even small g, says, Swamiji, speak truth. Be honest. Help him. Forget it. Forgive him. Be kind-hearted. Come on, be large-hearted. Somebody tells me all the time. Other fellow says, punish him. Take revenge. He deserves to be hurt. Other fellow says, whoever is stronger wins the battle. The Pandavas and Kauravas, or Devatas and Asuras. So whenever I violate the value, there is a temporary gain. Because when my greed is satisfied, there is temporary gain. When my anger is satisfied, there is temporary satisfaction. When my indulgence is satisfied, there is temporary satisfaction. But it creates conflict in me because I am violating the law. That's why I say, I have a satisfaction whenever I follow this law. Meaning that even though there is an impulse of anger, greed that tells me to tell a lie to that customs officer, if I can exercise my will and tell myself I am going to declare what is right, no matter what it means. It pinches me. Giving 50,000 rupees those days was a lot of, even for a Swami. Swamis also need money, unfortunately. And so, what? That pinch, that pain is there. I have to overcome that pain. I have to suffer that pain in order to follow that value of dharma. But when I do that, I congratulate myself. I did something right. Swamiji, did you pay the duty? When I say yes, behind me they say, he's stupid. Those who pay duty are idiots. I did not pay duty. That is called a hero, So when I say yes, I paid duty. Doesn't matter what they say. How do I feel? I've done something right. I feel proud of happy with myself. I should not be proud of myself, satisfied with myself. This is what we call self-worth, self-esteem. We all suffer in one degree or other with low self-esteem. So this is a sure way of gaining self-esteem. Simply follow dharma. Simply do what is right, not what is convenient. So these two fellows are always there. What is right and what I like. What I like is what is convenient. That kama, krodha, lobha forces me. You know the famous sentence of Duryodhana, Janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Duryodhana says, I know what dharma is, but I am not able to follow it. I know what dharma is, I cannot avoid it. Somebody that is within me who forces me to act like that? What kind of a king he is? He is, Duryodhana, a very powerful man. But here we see he is helpless. Helpless with reference to inner pressure. That is called bondage. Vedanta talks of liberation, simply this liberation, that you are free from all internal pressure. And when you are free from internal pressure, understand that nobody outside can pressurize you also. Meaning that you are free from all external pressure also. Free from all pressures. That is called moksha. When all pressure is removed, that happiness just manifests, but it manifests every moment. We don't have to wait for experiencing that happiness. Every time you perform act that is right, by overcoming an inner impulse of violating the value, overcome the impulse, subdue the impulse of anger or greed or lust, and do what is right, you feel satisfaction with yourself because you know that you have done something right. If you were in that place, this is what you would have liked to do. If you were in need of help, and if somebody you wanted, then you would have wanted that somebody should help you. Then when you help somebody who is in need of help, you know that you have done something right. And therefore, that creates that happiness in you. That is happiness coming from you. As I said, just perform one act of kindness. Who gives? There is no rasagulla there. There is no ice cream there. There is no desire there. What is the source of happiness there? Your own self. So that's what you want to type all the time. So second thing is doing what is right. And that becomes important because there are those impulses within me which very often pressurize me or force me to violate my values. And I do not submit to those pressures. I assert my commitment to doing what is right. And that way I develop inner strength. I become stronger and stronger, and it will become easier and easier to do what is right. A time will come when you will be spontaneous. It may take some time, but then no effort will be required. Then third, you will proceed further. Because we want that happiness all the time. So Lord Krishna continues his program. He says that you do what is right. Of course that is assumed or expected. But do what is right without expecting any personal reward. Next step. First is do something. Don't sit idle. Second is do what is right. Third is even when you do what is right, have no expectation of any personal reward. It is very natural for us to expect a personal reward. We always have an agenda in whatever we do. Our mind is extremely clever. Sometimes we also do not know how the mind has its own scheme of fulfilling agenda. Even in the act of so-called service also, we want to fulfill our agenda. So interesting when Swamiji, even senior Swamiji was giving, in a light mood he was saying how people have their agenda. He was a very respected Swamiji in Vrindavan. So people would come and salute him, prostrate to him. There were some devotees, one Pandit, so many Pandits used to come there, and this Panditji would come there with a lot of sandalwood paste. And he would wash his feet with sandalwood, collect that water, then drink that, Or he would apply sandalwood to his feet and then prostrate, such that his forehead is on his feet. With that, he will collect, that sandalwood on his forehead. And that is how, even in applying that sandalwood to his feet, His agenda is to ultimately get it back here. In Gujarati, they say what? This sometimes when in villages, sometimes this ghost, the spirit takes over somebody. Or people think that some ghost has come. So there are fellow specialists who are called to drive out that ghost. And so that fellow comes and he does all kinds of things, and he asks for a coconut, and then supposedly he has already drawn that spirit in that coconut and he throws away that coconut. You know where he will throw? In the direction of his village, so that while he's going, he's picking up that coconut. Even what I'm saying is how our mind always has this agenda within itself as to how to derive a personal benefit from everything that it does. It's an ingrained habit coming from small-mindedness, self-centeredness. This self-centeredness or selfishness always pressurizes us to derive a personal benefit from whatever we do. Swami, I worked so hard. All these 15 people came to my home. I cooked so much food for them. Nobody even has said a word of appreciation. So at least that much expectation was there. That must be. So there always expectation of not something very gross, some subtle expectation that at least they should take notice of what I am doing. Therefore, even when you have public functions and there are so many volunteers doing things, decorating stage. So there are behind stage, on the stage, different kinds of people are there. Very often people prefer to take up a volunteer job which involves doing something on the stage so everybody can see, that these are the people. You want to be visible. Not only want to do things, but want visibility. So fights are going on inside, Anyway, all this is how human beings, they are creating misery for their own self, for all these idiotic things. I want appreciation, I want visibility, I want this, I want that. We want ego, self-satisfaction in everything that we do. Agenda of self-satisfaction. But understand that again I am seeking satisfaction, seeking from there. Whenever I seek from there, I am denying the satisfaction that is within me. We should know that. If I remind you of yesterday's story of the 10th man, the very search for the 10th man is the denial of the 10th man. You understand this? Very search for the 10th man is the denial of... How? Because I could not be searching for the 10th man unless I deny the fact that I am the 10th man. I must first deny the fact that I am the 10th man because of ignorance, and then only search can take place. Meaning that searching for happiness out there is denial of happiness which is myself. Is it not so? So even when I expect something from there in terms of self-satisfaction, self-gratification, whether it is gratification of ego, some reward I am seeking, meaning that I am seeking happiness from out there, and that means that I am denying the happiness which is myself. So when you deny yourself, how can you expect to be happy? We do not realize how we are hurting ourselves. Yesterday I made a statement that human being constantly hurts himself. Even Lord Krishna says, Na inasti atmanatmanam tato yati param gadim. Lord Krishna says that when one gains this knowledge, then he stops hurting himself. Until then, everybody hurts himself. How do I hurt myself? By all the time chasing this happiness, satisfaction, success out there, whereas in fact it is my own nature. Meaning that there is a constant self-denial going on. And when I deny myself, I am hurting myself. So understand that any expectation I have from outside, I mean, some hard-working person, honest person, that is true. But through my honest and hard work, I still have an expectation of some personal reward. Whether it is satisfying my senses, satisfying my emotion, satisfying my ego, some satisfaction I am seeking. Lord Krishna says, give that up. Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You perform the action all right. Perform the right action again. Do what is right. That's the big thing, as it is. Even doing what is right is a big deal, understand. But having graduated to the point that now we are doing what is right, next level of graduation is do that without an expectation of personal reward. Meaning that do that as an act of offering, as an act of contribution. So our Swami uses these two expressions. You are either a consumer or a contributor. Who is a consumer? A person who does things with an expectation of a personal reward is a consumer. On the other hand, one who does things without expectation of personal reward is a contributor. The important thing is that the whole universe runs on the principle of contribution, not consumption. Other than human being, the whole nature always displays the spirit of contribution. The sun provides light and energy to the whole universe with no expectation. So does moon. So earth, water, fire, all elements of nature, all of them constantly contribute. Otherwise, how will the universe run? So contribution is the spirit which is in fact guiding this whole universe. Lord Krishna uses the word yajna. In Bhagavad Gita, the word that is used is yajna. Yajnathat karmanonyatra lokoyam karabandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Here Arjuna, whenever you perform an action in a spirit that is opposed to spirit of yajna, then that action becomes a binding action. What is binding action? That produces more obstacles to your happiness. What is freeing action? That removes obstacles to happiness. Simple arithmetic or algebra, whatever you want to call it. So, tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Hey kaunteya, therefore, perform all your actions in the spirit of yajna, the spirit of offering, spirit of contribution, spirit of self-offering. Because that is a spirit on the basis of which the whole universe functions. Difficult. Each stage is difficult. But slowly and slowly, difficulty becomes less. Stronger you become, less difficult it becomes. And when you discover the reward, by not demanding reward from there, how your heart rewards you. And it is just one act of contribution, one act of kindness. If you perform selflessly, simply out of spirit of helping somebody, out of compassion, out of kindness, right away you feel a sense of satisfaction. So Lord Krishna says that tadartham karma kaunteya. Perform an action in the spirit of yajna, spirit of self-offering. Offer whatever you have. It's not that you only have to offer money, etc. We have many other things with us. Swami, I don't have anything to offer. You have a lot of things to offer. You have kindness to offer. You have some time, some energy, some kindness, some compassion, something we have. So I remember this lady whose children are here in this audience. She was an 85-year-old woman, almost could not walk, confined to home. So what she would do? How would she contribute? These Vaishnava people, they perform their puja and so she knows many people who also perform puja. One of the requirements of puja is you have to light a lamp. For lamp you require a wick made of cotton. So this lady would make cotton wicks in her time. Make bundles, not bundles, but in the Ziploc bag, 100 of them. And then mail them. To those people she knows are performing puja. So if you want to contribute, you'll always come up with ideas as to how to do. It's a matter of having a value for that. And so, and you know yourself, go to internet, there are hundreds and thousands of stories of how people are contributing, even in small ways or big ways. If that is not there, the world would not run. People think that Swami, everywhere there is a dharma. Don't think there is a dharma everywhere. There is a lot of dharma, a lot of charities going on in the world. Except newspapers have no mood to report that to you because it is not sensational. And therefore they will only report things that, this fellow stole this and this fellow did this, that's all. For every act of violence, there are 99 acts of kindness going on in the universe, nobody reports that to you. For every, particularly in India, this is their pastime. They are looking for sadhus, and the moment you do something, you go out of way on your headline. You are then in the headline of newspaper, 15 days. Swami so-and-so did this. For every Swami who does that, there are 99 Swamis who are doing good work. Nobody reports. What I'm saying is there is a lot of kindness in the universe and a lot of charity is there, otherwise the universe cannot function. Cannot function on cruelty, cannot function on conflict. But they only report conflict. Swami, what will happen to this world? They say, what do you think, Swami, will happen to this world? Everywhere there is violence. What do you mean everywhere? There are 6 pockets of violence. Every day you find their news, Iraq something happened, Afghanistan, that's all they report. But do they ever report all acts of kindness going on? There are doctors without borders. So many people are there who are doing so many things. Are they not? If that is not there, I don't think the universe would continue. And so, we have lots of infinite amount of kindness within ourselves. It may not look like it. Who can I blame now? Normally I don't even keep that phone with me, but it is there today. So हिंदी में बोलते हैं भाई निंदो मत सराहना पड़ेगा, सराहो मत निंदना पड़ेगा. Meaning don't keep on criticizing this, you will have to praise him someday, and don't keep on praising, you will have to criticize someday. So if I say, come on, stop your phone, stop it, and then this runs, this rings. So don't do that, they tell me. Because we are all vulnerable. So this next lesson that Lord Krishna gives is perform actions without any agenda of personal reward. It's called selfless action. It is called the yoga of selfless action. For which Bhagavad Gita is well known, Karma Yoga. That's a great thing, None of this is easy. Doing what is right also is not easy. And doing what is right without expectation is even more difficult. But now we are graduating further. You know what this does? It gets rid of these obstacles. of raga or dvesha, or kama or krodha, because I do not submit to them. They always try to take hold of my mind and try to pressurize me, and I do not submit to that pressure. I subdue that pressure and I assert what is right and not what is convenient. I assert what is dharma and not adharma. I assert my selflessness and not selfishness. By asserting all those negative forces are subdued, they become weaker and weaker. And the positive forces within ourselves become stronger and stronger. So this is a battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas, or Devatas and Asuras. That as Devatas become stronger, Asuras are slowly driven out. We have to drive them out. And you discover, at every step you discover more and more satisfaction from yourself. Meaning that you don't have to wait for some future time to discover that happiness is of nature. Every step you keep on discovering. To the extent that this kama, krodha, raga, dvesha is subdued, to that extent there is manifestation of happiness. You find yourself happy, cheerful. The taste of happiness is that you are comfortable with yourself. Right now, leave me alone in a room, I become uncomfortable. First thing I want is where is TV? It's not that. Where is my cell phone? It's not that. Where is this and that? Something I need to keep my mind engaged, because I just cannot deal with myself. We work very hard for vacation, or we work for the whole day to go home, because 4:45 I wind up. 5 o'clock I'm already at the gate. And in New York City, I remember, you rush through and, subways and push here and there and make sure that you get your bus. You go home and do what? You relax? No. All this is for relaxing. When the time to relax comes, you find out some activity. I can't relax. So, looks like to be able to relax is a big thing. When can I relax? When those fellows are not within me, not pressurizing me to do something or the other. That inner restlessness slowly subsides, and inner peace and calm comes. So taste is right away. As I said, you don't have to wait for future. The reward is immediate. Thus you keep discovering this peace within yourself, tranquility within yourself. Lord Krishna says, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Samatvam, the tranquility of the mind, is called yoga. When you have done that, now then you are ready for the next step. Karma has done its job. By removing this kama, krodha, raga, dvesha from your mind, the karma is so rajas and tamas are essentially removed, your mind becomes sattvic. Then what do? Then you graduate to the next. Lord Krishna says, now you can give up action. Meaning that now, since your mind is sattvic, automatically the desires change. Formerly, where those desire for pleasure or enjoyment or achieving things, it is replaced by the desire for knowledge. In sattva, there is value for knowledge, love for knowledge. When the mind becomes sattvic, automatically this shraddha, the faith, bhakti, the devotion, jnanam, desire for knowledge, all of these manifest, they are all there. All these beautiful qualities are there in our heart. As they remove the obstacles, they become evident. Then my mind becomes contemplative mind. From active mind, it slowly gets transformed into a contemplative mind. Lord Krishna says, now you can take up the life of contemplation. We quoted the verse from the 3rd chapter of Gita, Lokesmin dvidhanishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. I keep on quoting Gita, hoping that you'll be encouraged to study Gita. How wonderful the text is, what treasure there is. It is like a mine of jewels. That's what Gita is. And relatively simple text. So Lord Krishna says 2 stages are there for the spiritual development of a person. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. First stage is karma yoga, means the life of activity. Second is jnana yoga, the life of contemplation. So when your mind becomes contemplative, when now there is value for knowledge, then they give you a consent that all right, now you've done enough for everybody else, now you can do things for yourself. So first fulfilling your obligation to the world. Having done that, now you can fulfill your obligation to yourself. That's called the pursuit of knowledge. Lord Krishna says, Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Now you approach the teachers. Pranipada, offer long prostrations. Sevaya, serve the teacher. Surrender to them. Serve them. Please them. When they are pleased with you, then they will give you this knowledge. They will impart teaching to you. Pariprasthena. Then you ask what you want to know. Upadekshantade jnanam jnaniyaha tattvadarshinaha. Those wise and enlightened people will definitely impart the teaching to you. This is the knowledge. What is the knowledge? I am limitless. But I am already experiencing that, understand. The thing is, we are already approaching that. By removing the obstacles of raga dveshas, as the mind becomes sattvic, I keep feeling within myself a sense of satisfaction, a sense of self-acceptance, a sense of happiness. So when the mind is happy, then somebody teaches you your happiness, it easily sinks in. When the mind is unhappy and they tell you your happiness, it creates more conflict. Formerly when I felt unhappy, I thought that, well, that's the right thing to feel. Now I know that I'm happiness. I'm not supposed to feel unhappy. And I'm feeling unhappy, Swami. That's more miserable. But when the teaching sinks in, when the mind is ready for that, and so you discover now that happiness is yourself. That this process culminates in knowledge that the limitless happiness I am. In Vedanta they will say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. That's how the discovery of limitless happiness concludes by abiding in the happiness. That becomes spontaneous. What formerly involved an effort, in course of time becomes spontaneous. And this person in the Bhagavad Gita is called Sthita Prajna, a man of abiding wisdom. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogadan atmanyeva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Atmaneva atmana tushtaha. Lord Krishna says that this person is satisfied with himself by himself. Imagine you are satisfied with yourself. Then what do you need for satisfaction? Nothing, isn't it? If you are satisfied with yourself by yourself, without any need, then you achieved your goal. Because satisfaction is your nature, happiness is your nature. In discovery of your nature, you discover the satisfaction with yourself. Atmaneva atmana tushtaha. He is satisfied with himself by himself. And therefore, prajahati yada kaman, all these desires have gone away, all his expectations have gone away, all his demands have gone away. He becomes a totally non-demanding person. So Swamiji, how do I know I am making progress? More non-demanding we become. More satisfaction we discover with ourselves, more non-demanding we become, because the need for seeking happiness from out there automatically goes down. I become less and less needy, less and less dependent, less and less demanding, more and more independent. This journey towards independence, journey towards freedom. So understand that freedom and happiness are one thing. Happiness without freedom is not happiness. Because bondage, dependence. Dependence itself is unhappiness. That's how Manusmriti defines unhappiness. Sarvam paravasham dukkham, sarvam atmavasham sukham. Where paravashta is there, where dependence is there, that itself is unhappiness. There is no unhappiness other than helplessness. No unhappiness other than dependence. And there is no happiness other than freedom. So freedom and happiness are one. You discover happiness, discover freedom. Meaning that less and less dependence, less and less needs, less and less demands. You become less and less needy person, less and less demanding person. You become less you demand, more of a blessing you become. Is it not so? And thus this person is a blessing to the universe because he seeks nothing. He is a total contributor. He becomes contributor in the total sense because he doesn't expect or need anything. So either you call it a contributor, either you call him totally satisfied with himself, either you call him free, either you call him abiding in the self, either you call him attain moksha, attain real success in life. This is success. It's not achieved someplace else. Vedanta says that this success is to be achieved here. So after death, not in some heaven someplace, it is right here. And here alone you discover, because a human being alone is endowed with the requisite qualifications to attain that. If we don't do it now, we have to continue until we achieve this. So understand that there is no option, there is no choice. Our Swami used to say that a thinking person has no choice. Although we say that human being has a free will and choice, but a thinking person has no choice, because he knows that the only choice is to gain that success. And therefore, only that path is available to me, other thing is not available. There is no choice. So this is a journey towards success of freedom or limitless happiness, as Lord Krishna outlines in the Bhagavad Gita. So with that we conclude.